21-year-old Cierra Dyer is in custody after allegedly stabbing her 1-year-old daughter in front of a police officer. The incident occurred just before 1:30 p.m. on the 11th of October at a unit located at 1014 Taylor Street in Greenville, North Carolina. The authorities were called to the scene on reports of a disturbance at the property. Cierra was arguing with her mother over custody of her daughter. When police arrived, one officer walked into the kitchen and witnessed the mother stabbing her child in the back. When the officer confronted her, she threw the knife on the ground. Cierra surrendered without incident. The toddler was then transported to the local hospital and is expected to make a full recovery. Cierra has been charged with attempted murder and felony abuse. She's been held at the Pitt County Jail on a $1.5 million bond. 31-year-old Isaiah Sporus and 30-year-old Amanda Jeggio are behind bars following the beating death of their 15-month-old son. At around 5:30 p.m. on the 3rd of October, the authorities responded to Motel 6 on Grand River Avenue in Farmington Hills, Michigan. They conducted a welfare check on a child after receiving reports of an infant crying. When officers arrived, the couple told them that the child wasn't with them and they had given him away. Officers then searched the room, where they discovered the lifeless body of an infant boy beneath a pile of blankets covered from head to toe in bruises. An autopsy later confirmed that the boy died from brain damage caused by blunt force injury to his head. Isaiah and Amanda were arrested and questioned. Amanda said she witnessed Isaiah beat the boy and the child started convulsing, but she did nothing to stop it or report the matter to the authorities. Because she lied to the officers and tried to hide the baby's body, she was charged with second-degree murder, second-degree abuse, and accessory after the fact, which has a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. Isaiah made statements that he beat the baby boy and was charged with first-degree murder and first-degree abuse charges and faces the possibility of life in prison. The couple's last known addresses were in Colorado and California, but both were described as homeless. Neither had prior criminal histories. The couple are held at the Oakland County Jail without bond. A New Mexico man was arrested on the 3rd of October after allegedly murdering his wife with an axe and leaving her body in the Gila National Forest, roughly 50 miles from where they both lived. 35-year-old Amanda Zamora and 39-year-old Erica Zamora had been married since 2011. Amanda filed for divorce in June of 2021. The proceedings were still pending, and they lived in separate houses in Silver City. On the 1st of October, Erica's family became concerned when they hadn't heard from her for several days and reported her missing. Investigators learned that on the morning of the 26th of September, Armando and Erica were reportedly cutting wood together in the forest. Armando initially told investigators they went back to his house after cutting the wood, and on the 28th of September, he dropped Erica off at her home at around 7:30 in the morning. Investigators then obtained CCTV footage which showed Armando without his wife while he visited various businesses on the way home from the forest. Detectives also learnt that in 2019, Armando was on probation for lewd conduct of a minor under the age of 13. At the time, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He only served 1 year of that sentence, as the remaining years were suspended. He was then released on supervised probation in December of 2020. As a condition of his release, he was required to wear a GPS ankle monitor. Investigators were able to trace Armando's movements by following the coordinates of the monitor and discovered that he never dropped Erica off at her house. On the 3rd of October, detectives also used the monitor to navigate their way around the woodcutting site by tracing Armando's movements in the area. Officers searched the forest, leading them to Erica's body, effectively placing Armando at the scene of the crime. She had sustained injuries that were consistent with a physical altercation. Armando was arrested later that day, and when presented with the evidence, he confessed to the crime. He explained that he and Erica had been arguing a lot as they drove into the forest. He said that when they arrived at the site, he began loading wood onto his pickup truck. Soon enough, they began arguing again, and Erica punched him. Upset, Armando grabbed an axe and beat her to death with it. The axe was later found in his home. Armando's been held at the Grant County Jail and he's been charged with murder.